Hello and welcome to Tom's Garden and Beyond. Today we're in my kitchen and we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be making these wraps. Now, I've been trying to come up with a way of making wraps that are simple, doesn't take a lot of time and effort to make. And I found a YouTube channel, Serious Keto, that came up with a method that I really like. So I'm going to share that method with you. Now, he used a little bit different ingredients, but I use the ones that I have available to me and so I'm just pulling this together. Main ingredient is an egg, 1 egg, almond flour, silicon husk. Now, he recommended using the silicon husk, whole silicon husk. This is a powder, so he recommended using half as much as what you would normally use. And then he used a whey protein, which I don't have a whey protein powder, but I did have this. It's an unflavored collagen powder, so that's what I'm going to use today. And then whole cream. So these are the ingredients that we'll be working with today, and I'll tell you the amounts as I begin to put them together. So first of all, let's take the egg and get it into a 2-cup measure. And 1 tablespoon of almond flour, a half a tablespoon of silicon husk powder, a whole tablespoon of collagen powder, and 1 tablespoon of cream, whole cream. And then I also use 1 tablespoon of water. Now I use the water because when I didn't use the water before, it made a very stiff and hard to get it to, it made a stiff batter, and I wanted a thinner batter, and I'll show you why. So I'm using a whisk in my hand mixer. And wanting to make sure I get everything off of the bottom. A lot of times the silicone likes to stick to the bottom. So does any of the other dry ingredients. So we'll just give that one little more. Okay. Now, what I have here is I took a silicone mat that was for a baking pan and cut the edges so that it would fit nicely in my microwave platter. So this is the microwave platter. Just simply take the batter and pour it onto the platter here. As you can see, it spreads out very nicely, evenly. That's why a little bit of water helped, because before it was so stiff to try to get it to sort of lay out in a nice, thin and even pattern across the silicone sheet here. So what I've got here now is it's all really uniform. and it's the size that I like to have my wraps. So we're gonna take this and put it in the microwave for 90 seconds. While that's cooking in the microwave, I want to show you some of the substitutes that I've used. I've used the flaxseed flour as a substitute for the almond flour. I also use coconut flour. I just basically use 1 tablespoon of each of those, although I did find that the flaxseed I had to put 2 tablespoons in. And these are lupin flakes, but I actually ground it down to a flour. So far, these are the substitutes that I have come up with. Give you some idea of what they look like. This was the flaxseed wraps that I made a couple of them. This first one down here was one with, I just used 1 tablespoon of flaxseed flour. And this one you can see is a little darker. I used 2. It seems to have a little bit more pliability, a little stronger. That was the flaxseed. And this is the coconut. I used the coconut flour on this. Did a very nice job, same thing, has a nice flexibility to it. I'm going to try this in wraps and see how they work, see if they hold together as good as what they seem like they will. This is lupin. Again, this is a nice, pliable. As you can see, it doesn't break when you crush it up. Has moisture to it, feels nice and moist. And then this is what the wrap that I'm just making now looks like after it's been on the cooling rack and cooled down. There still seems to be, quite a bit of moisture in that. And I think by leaving it on the cooling rack for a little bit longer, it'll help to remove some of that moisture. Not that that's bad, but it's just not, I think that you like it better. Here's what that silicone mat looks like, and after it's been in the microwave for 90 seconds, I just turn it over. Help it along to begin with to peel it off. Peels off very nicely. So then we just kind of let it set on the cooling rack, cool. And then we'll try these all out for taste tests and just to see how they will hold up as a wrap. We got our keto wraps all made, and we're going to start to test them out to see just how well they roll into a nice burrito or whatever we're trying to use as a wrap. So the almond flour one, that's the one that I was demonstrating that we were making. We'll start with that one. And we can make kind of the typical burrito. And so we'll start with a little bit of, I got chopped spinach here. This is spinach right from my garden. So we'll put a little bit of some greens. And then I've got a mix. It's a sausage and beef, ground beef mix with some taco seasoning in it. So we'll build our little burrito with that. And then I've got, again, some garden fresh. I've got peppers, onions, and cucumbers. that I've chopped finally. And we'll just spread a small layer of that on our burrito. And then we have some cheddar cheese, just some shredded cheddar cheese. Then I've got some salsa. And a little touch of sriracha sauce. Just a little. A little bit of heat. Okay, well, let's see what we can do in wrapping this baby up. Of course, there's all different kinds of ways to wrap these, but I'm going to do it this way and see how it wraps. And as you can see, it's very pliable, doesn't crack, folds nicely on the end. You can have it open on one end or closed, and you can see as I'm pressing it in, it doesn't crack. Makes a real nice wrap. So I'd say that the almond flour making a burrito wrap was very successful. Now, this is the flax seed. I'm going to use the one that I put twice the flax seed, which is 2 tablespoons in. It feels a little bit more sturdier. This one is okay. This is just a 1 tablespoon. Now let's go ahead and build a burrito with this wrap. A little bit of spinach. And my taco beef mix. I have a tendency to overfill my taco or burrito shells. I'm going a little easier than what I normally do. And it seems like it's just the right amount. And finish it off with some cheese. A little bit of salsa. And we'll put a little bit of sriracha sauce on it. Just a tad. Yeah. All right, same thing. Let's kind of fold up the edges. I'm gonna kind of bend that back a little bit and then bend that back. Maybe if I can do this. I'm gonna tuck that in, tuck that around, pull the edges up. As you can see, this one is being real pliable also. No tears. So I'd say that did really pretty good. So that was the flaxseed burrito. Next is the lupin flour. Lupin, not real familiar with that particular flour, but keto people seem to think that it's pretty good to use as a keto substitute for regular flours. All right, well, let's build this and see what we've got here as far as how it will roll and make into a nice burrito. Kind of like to put cucumber in this pepper and onion mix. Cucumber gives it a little bit more, I don't know, just a little crunch, a little bit of juiciness to it. A little bit of salsa. And a little bit of sriracha. All right, let's see how this rolls up. Okay, so we'll pack it that way a little bit. Roll it this way. Fold the ends over. And then roll it. Very nice. Again, does a very nice job rolling. No tears, very strong. Okay. Now the one I have left is the coconut flour. We're gonna do something a little different with it. I'm not gonna make a burrito out of it, or at least not a Mexican burrito. I wanna make this into a crepe type of a food, and with that I'm going to totally change what we're going to be putting on it. Here are the 3 wraps, and they're already filled so that they're a burrito now. So I thought I would go ahead and just take a bite out of them, and we'll see what, after they have a bite out of them, how they do. Okay, so you can see, we got a mouthful. That's the almond flour. This is a flaxseed flour. It holds together nicely too. It's a flaxseed. It's lupin. So as far as the way they hold together, the ease of being able to handle them, very good, very good. Now as far as flavor, none of them taste like the flour tortilla that you buy. They all have their own unique flavors. And basically, if we're looking for a flavor that's like the flavor of the tortilla in the store, or what you would buy at a restaurant, you're going to be disappointed because it doesn't have that flavor. So you have to look at what you're really wanting to make this wrap for. It's good, you know, there's nothing wrong with the flavor, but each wrap has its own unique flavor. But each wrap really is a good wrap to hold together if you're putting something in the center. Now there's many different uses for these wraps, and another thing that I want to do is to put the wrap in the skillet and heat it up, brown it a little bit, and do the same thing. So we'll come back with that. Okay, so this is I just did the almond wrap, and as you can see, putting it in the skillet, browned it a little bit. So we'll see how that affects the way that we can make this burrito, if it still continues to be pliable enough and doesn't break. Making the burrito the same way we did the others that wasn't heated. So there it is. Kind of pretty, isn't it? All right, I can tell there's a little bit more firmness as I start to work with it here. We'll see just how pliable it'll actually be. Trying to do these consistent with the way that I've ruled them before. I don't like the way those ends tuck in. There. So that's the almond wrap that has been heated on the stove. I didn't use any oil, it was in a dry pan. Let's see what happens when I take a bite out of it. Very nice. Flavor's a little different, just very slight difference. Okay, I would say this method of making these wraps, they meet my expectations, so I'll be using them. So this is the coconut flour wrap, and I wanted to do something a little different with this. I tried it before and it worked really good. I like cheese blitzes, and this makes a nice crepe kind of, I don't know what you call it, food, a crepe. So I really like the way this feels. It feels more like a crepe than it does like a wrap. And I made from some cream cheese and blueberries. Put those in a bowl and put them in the microwave for 2 minutes and stirred them up. And this is what I came up with as a filling. So we're just gonna put a nice layer of this cream cheese. Also put allulose in it. Put 4 tablespoons of allulose in it so that it makes it nice and sweet. I'm gonna put a few little fresh strawberry or fresh blueberries in here. And then we just kind of roll it up like you would a cheese blitz. There, makes a nice little, and then to kind of top it off, and this is kind of the way cheese blitzes are. They put a little powdered sugar over the top of it. So we'll do the same thing with this. Make it nice and sweet, but it's keto. It's keto. These wraps have something like 1 or 2 carbs in the whole wrap. So makes a very nice, delicious dessert type of a meal. We'll do a little sampling of it here. Let me just cut it in half. That. Oh my gosh, that is so good. It's a winner. So that's all for the keto wraps. And I just want to thank you too for coming to my channel. And I've got a lot of different things that I do on my channel. So come back again, see what I got.